Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening. My name's Liz Chapman, and with me is Shirley Guertin, and we're both directors with Canadians for Homeopathy. And we wanted to come on and have just an informal chat about using homeopathy for animals and how to give homeopathic medicines to animals. So for those of you that are new to our organization, I just wanted to say a few words about it. We actually started back in 2018, and we were called For Homeopathy Canada. We were a campaign under the Health Action Network Society at that time. And we came about because people in the homeopathic community felt that there was a need for a consumer voice in the landscape of homeopathy in Canada. And as some of you may know, homeopathy at times has faced criticisms that seems unwarranted and or actual slander by the media. And, we've had our ups and downs over the years. So the idea being that consumers who use homeopathy have a lot of credibility when they can say, well, actually, I used it for this and it helped me, or I gave it to my pet and it helped them. So I think homeopathy is a valid system and I want access to it. And I think that, so I guess one of the key messages that we try to get across is that we're all about education, communication, advocacy, and just celebrating homeopathy. And we want Canadians to learn about homeopathy. So we offer some amazing webinars of many different topics. And we also, promote advocacy from the point of view of petitions and raising awareness about when there are bills that are concerning that may affect our access to natural health products, et cetera. So mostly we just want to share the positive stories about homeopathy because there are many. And we're hosting this week is our subscription drive. We need support from all of you if you're able to financially support us, because we have expenses. We're all volunteers who are organizing the all the webinars and the webinar presenters. We all volunteer our time, but we do have expenses that require some funds. So we're holding the subscription drive this week in order to let you know that if you would like to do that, it's a very reasonable price, $6 a month approximately, or $60 a year, will help us to keep going. And it gives you an incredible amount of access to all of our webinars, our past webinars on topics, everything from we've had Miranda Castro, who's an internationally known homeopath, talking about infants and children's homeopathy. We've had menopause. We've had veterinary homeopaths. We've had people talking about agrohomeopathy, which is homeopathy for plants. We try to mix it up, and in fact, we yesterday, if you were able to join us, we had the wonderful homeopath Anka Zimmerman talking about homeopathy for angry and violent kids. And on October 7th, we have Andrea Rich is going to be talking about homeopathy for animals. So, the webinars keep coming. And if you become a subscriber, you can access them at any time on demand. Otherwise, we make them available for free to everyone live, but to access them later, we ask you to subscribe. And we have some great discounts on courses, on remedies, and so on. And this week, if you subscribe, and even if you have been a subscriber already, we will be putting names into the hat for some drawing of some amazing prizes from our sponsors, who are Boiron Canada, Jackson's Naturals, and Orange Naturals. And they have donated some wonderful prizes for us. So I wanted to just to say too that we have a great website with some excellent resources on it, and you can always you can go to the website to sign up for our newsletter. We have a social media presence on Facebook, which may be where you're watching this right now, and please sign up so that you'll always get informed about whatever we're doing on our webinars and so on. And if you're a subscriber, of course, you'll automatically be signed up. And yeah, so check out our website and hope you can join us for our next webinar. So I wanted to introduce Shirley because she is an incredible homeopath of mainly of animals, but has used homeopathy, of course, on her family and friends. In fact, Shirley had a riding school and a breeding farm for horses, and she has used homeopathy for more than 50 years. So thanks for joining me tonight, Shirley.
Thank you for having me.
I think
fun.
You've got some great information to share about, because of course everyone wants to get started, and it's like, well, how do you actually give remedies to your animals? It's there's many different ways to do it, and in fact, Shirley has actually created a little video to give some demonstration on that. So I'm going to share my screen, which may just take me a second here. And we can see, and here we go. Is that coming up okay?
Yes, there's some black bars across the top. Okay, they're disappearing.
Great. And there's our little logo, Canadians for Homeopathy: educate, communicate, advocate, and celebrate. Okay, well, I'm gonna start this video, and then we'll come back after we've seen it, and we can talk a little bit about what we've seen, and if people have any questions and so on. So I'm gonna get us started now.
Yeah, click the arrow again, maybe.
Okay, yeah, it seems like it's just a bit hung up. So it's on play, but for some reason it's...
Actually, yeah, that's it.
So
okay, so to give a remedy to a horse, if you do not have it already made up in a liquid, you can use pellets or you can use granules. So here we have our first aid kit.
Can you make it louder, Liz?
Remedies in them, or a lot.
I've got it on maximum volume.
Keep at the barn. And this is the little tube of arnica, a spoon, clean paper, and a pair of pliers.
Should I talk along since it's not very loud?
It's not very loud. Okay, sure. Feel free to weigh in there, Shirley.
What we do is we crush the
pills. Okay, so those are the what we gather together to give the remedies. In the green little box, it's a kit that I have at the barn. Then there's a spoon and the vial of remedy, which happens to be arnica, and clean paper and a pair of pliers.
And therefore don't use that method at all anymore.
I guess you got to be prepared before you start.
Okay, so now we're removing the pellets from the bottle and putting them into the cap.
So these are the tiny little poppy size pellets. They're very, very, very small. You don't need many, 3 to 5. And we put that in the paper because we're going to crush it and make it into powder. My experience has shown that if I put the pellets directly in the horse's mouth, because we're going to be giving a remedy to a horse, that half the time it'll roll out of his mouth and onto the floor, and of course that's no good. Now they're very small. In fact, it's pretty impossible to see here on the video, but you're gonna have to trust me that we did put some in there. Now with the little teeny poppy size, I probably would not crush them, and those would probably stick to the tongue, but most of the time you have the larger size granules, and those guaranteed they will roll out. But I wanted to show the process of crushing them.
And then she takes the pliers.
You just use the pliers and you'll hear the crunchy sounds.
Like I said earlier, the powder will stick to the tongue, whereas the pellets may stick or they may roll out.
This video, by the way, is available on the Canadians for Homeopathy YouTube page, so you can go back and use it for reference at any time.
Reopen your paper carefully, and you pour the powder into.
So that's my daughter Danica doing this, and she didn't quite figure out which way she'd folded the paper, so that's just one thing to try to remember to do.
Right.
It doesn't all pour out when you open it up.
Those I would probably put directly in the
She got
horse's
it done.
mouth, but if you
Good
have
for
the
her.
larger granules,
I guess she's done this a few times.
Oh yeah,
tube, they're
except
baby,
I'll be showing you another method,
those will
which
definitely
is
go
way
in your mouth.
easier and faster.
Mhm.
Okay, so next thing will be to pour it into
But
the spoon.
this is the method you can use if you only have granules.
Mhm.
So we pour
So
that
here's
powder
Danica
into a
with
spoon, and
second
she's
course.
holding the
This is
spoon and the
Revelation,
horse.
Revy, 3-year-old.
This is
And
Revy. He's
now
a
we've
young
got the
horse. He's
powdered
really a
remedy in
growing
spoon,
baby
so we'll
still,
close up on the
and he's already a giant.
powder. It's not very
And
much.
powder's in the spoon. There's
And
not very
all
much.
that we
Doesn't
need to
mean
do
much.
is to get that in the mouth so that it sticks on the tongue. Once it's there, it'll do its job. So she holds him against her shoulder, sticks the spoon in, and then rotates her hand.
And
and
she
then he
just sticks the
goes-
spoon in, twists
Yep.
her hand, and then
He's
it's on
got
the
it.
tongue, and you can see he's licking
He
it.
looks pretty happy.
Oh, he's totally
Very,
happy.
very easy.
And that's all you
Now,
need to do
sometimes
is
they
have
fuss
it
a little
stick to
bit
the
the
tongue,
first few
because
times,
that's how
but
the
usually they get
homeopathy
to know
works.
that
It's
it tastes
absorbed
good
through the
and
mucous
they're
membranes in the
just
mouth.
completely happy to take it. Thank you. Okay. So here's
So the
Danica
liquid
and the
remedy
horse
is my favorite way to do
Emmanuel,
it,
or Mandy
because
as
I
we call
had
her. We're
60
gonna show
horses
you
at one
in
time.
normal
60
time
horses
how
is
we
like
give a
having
remedy to
60
the horse. So
children.
first we take
Wow.
the regular
Imagine
bottle in
there's
arnica,
always somebody who's got some kind of a
30
boo-boo or
and
something
Mandy
that
just
you
got
have to
worked
be
out, a hard
dealing
workout,
with.
so we're just gonna
So
first of all
doing it with the
tap
liquid
the
is way
bottle to
faster. So
energize it.
you saw her tap the bottle on her
And
hand. That's to
she takes the
energize
top
it.
off,
So
she puts it
usually
in her
she could have
pocket.
tapped it a
She
little
wants to
harder,
see,
but
make
that's
sure that
that's
the
okay. Got the
bottle
job
is
done.
ready in her left hand with the spray pointed in the right
So you
direction.
make sure you've got
And
the
then
spray
she
part
will
pointed in the
hold the
right
horse
direction,
with
and
her
then you
hand
hold the
against
horse's
her
head just
shoulder,
as if you were going to put his bridle or his
as if
halter
she's
on,
putting on a
so
bridle
against
or
your
a halter.
shoulder, and you
And
stick
then
some,
she
your other
drops
fingers in there,
she
and then the horse will open his mouth, and then you just go push with the
puts
spray. That's it.
spray in there, and she sprayed it already.
And the big thing is to
Emmanuel is
not let
completely happy with
the
it.
end part of the spray touch the
So
horse's mouth,
that's
because
it.
you don't want to
Not too
contaminate the bottle.
complicated.
Right.
Okay, and maybe we'll do the spraying part once more, and I'll zoom
So
in so
then
that you
I
can
asked her
see
to do it in slow motion,
close
but of
up
course I
how
didn't
it's
think
done.
ahead of
So
time that you can't
remember,
really
she's
do things in
spraying,
slow motion. So
the bottle is
the
aimed,
person who put the video
and she
together
spreads
actually
the
slowed it
lips,
down. So you
and
can
we
see her
squirt a couple
opening the
sprays in.
mouth.
Uh-huh.
Pushing the spray, but she did it.
That's quite an art to not have the tongue or anything touch it. Touch the bottle, I mean.
So that is so fast to
Okay,
do it that
Danica,
way.
do you
And
wanna show
sometimes,
how the
yeah,
how you
sometimes the
normally
horses,
do it?
you can even do it across when they get used to it, you can do it
When they
across
get used to it and they know that
the
there's
stall,
nothing
like
wrong with-
across the fence even, like not have to
Yeah,
hold them
there you
down.
go.
Uh-huh.
That's the quick way.
There.
Oh, look at that. And you got your course is mentioned there, Shirley.
Yes. So I do offer a 10-week entry-level course it's for people and their pets. And I have a really complete information package that I can mail out to anybody, so you can see what is being taught in the course.
So do you want to put in the chat your email? Is that how people can contact you?
Yeah. Is there a chat here? Oh yeah, there is a chat. Yeah. So I'll put my email in the chat, and you can just email me to and I'll be happy to send you the package of information.
So the course is for people who are new to homeopathy and who are interested in using it for animals or
Themselves,
anything.
their children, their family. Yeah.
There's not a lot of difference, is there?
No, there isn't. And that's the cool part about homeopathy, because when I'm teaching the course, like if I'm teaching a remedy, I'll go through how we use it for a person. And we'll go through all the, whether it's better for heat or cold or all those little rubrics. And then we go to the animal part, and it's a repetition. because it's the very same rubrics that you use with animals that you use with people.
Right.
So when I'm teaching the course, I sort of like repeating. People remember better when it's repeated, so it helps it sink in a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. So you must have used it on other animals, used homeopathy on
Yes,
other
like
animals.
dogs and cats.
I bet cats are a bit trickier.
Well, cats, sometimes you have to wrap them up in a towel and get those claws out of the way. But usually, and that's usually the first time is always the hardest times, because when they figure out that it's not hurting, they're fine. The other way too, you can do, if you only have the one cat in the house, you can just put it in the cat's dish, like water dish.
Right.
But
Yes.
when we do that, I suggest that you use 2 dishes, one with just water and one with the remedy, and just observe, see what they do.
Uh-huh.
Unless you really need them to get the remedy, then you would remove the second bowl. But yeah, it's a quick way of doing it too. And with horses too, if there was if I knew that we used to run horse shows, and if I knew somebody had brought in a horse that was maybe had a cough, it worried me for the rest of the herd. So we would actually put the remedies right in their water trough. And our horses lived
Oh.
outside, so whenever they went for a drink, they would get a remedy. And I would do that with a horse in a stall as well. Like if, let's say, I wanted him to get a second dose of it, well, then I would give him a dose. And then if I was going to bed or something, I'd just put a squirt in the water bowl, and I knew that he would be getting another dose later on. So it worked.
So it's pretty versatile.
Yeah,
I
very
mean,
versatile.
when we've given homeopathy to our dog, we often will take 2 spoons and then crush the pills between the 2 spoons and then just, flick it into the
Flick it
dog's
in.
mouth.
Yeah.
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 But water dish is also a great way, especially if you want them to get it multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
And
was just, sorry,
no, spray works with the dog too.
I bet.
Yeah,
And I think like what you said is so true. Once they, when they get used to how you administer, it's no big deal for them.
that's right.
It's in fact they like the sweetness sometimes if
Yeah.
they get the powder.
Yeah.
I was reading an article in on Homeopathy Plus, I think it was, and it was talking about giving homeopathic medicines to your pet fish.
Oh, yeah.
And so again, it was similar, right? It says you can put it into if it's just one fish, you could put it into their aquarium or what have you, and then they were saying if the aquarium is exposed to sunlight, then over time the remedy would just dissipate, and so then they wouldn't keep, because you don't want them to keep taking it forever. Obviously,
Right.
it's like we don't give remedies continually. We as needed is, I think Anka said that the famous words last night in her webinar. You don't overdose people; just give the minimum dose.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's so applicable to so many creatures in our lives, even wild animals. We've given, put stuff out for a raccoon that had an eye infection, and we just put it in some fruit or something, I can't remember what, and got them to eat it. And I don't know, it's hard to know what fixed it, but it's neat to see that. And of course, birds that get hit, they hit the window, you can give them a little bit of arnica, aconite, what have you, in a little bit of water, and they recover quite
I
well.
ha I have a funny story. I went fishing with somebody who was just, this is not something that I propose that anybody do, but a lot of people will catch a fish and throw it back in. I don't know where the fun of that is, but anyways, I had my little bottle of arnica with me.
Aw,
I made them give arnica to the poor fish
that's
before throwing
lovely.
it back in.
Yeah, that's kind of a fishing thing, isn't it? People
Yeah,
do
yeah,
like they did the thrill of fishing, catching it, and then they don't really want it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I know you wonder about the trauma the poor fishes experience. I think they
yeah.
do that with sturgeon fishing on the Fraser River too. You're not allowed to, they catch these enormous fish and then they have photo ops and then they put them back in the water. So it would be good to sprinkle some arnica on them.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Well, okay. Well, I think we've kind of shared what we can about. Is there anything I haven't asked you or that you want to
No, I
share,
don't think
Shirley?
so. Yeah, those little kits are really handy to have if it's at a barn and it's not near your house. It's hard sometimes to have enough remedies both at home and far away from home. So those little kits are absolutely wonderful for that.
Where was that kit from? Was that a,
Oh, I think Remedies Online out of the States sells that kit,
okay.
but you can make it yourself because it's a little bullet box. And
Oh,
you have little bottles, you can just stick them in. There's 50 little holes, little slots in there, and you can just transfer your regular remedies into that.
hmm. And I think our subscribers also get a discount with Boiron if they want to
Or
order
kits, yeah.
order a kit or make up their own kit,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine that people do your course, then they want a kit because they see how many remedies they could be
Yes.
using. Yeah.
And that's the best way. You start with a kit and then you'll be adding on other remedies after, but at least you've got something there.
Yeah.
You've got a base. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we'll wrap it up. I hope that everyone's found this information helpful. And like I mentioned, we have another webinar coming up on October the 7th, and that will be about animals and homeopathy. So you can learn more, ask more questions, and please consider becoming a subscriber this week because we would love to put your name in for the draw for some great prizes. So if you go to our website, Canadiansforhomeopathy.com, you can sign up to be a subscriber. And we thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.